Hello guys, welcome back to this video tutorial on RESTful web services. In this video we will see how to send a new object to a web service with a post HTTP request and how to store it into a database. Let's create a new method that inserts into the database an object of class company here in the company repository class. We can copy and paste the code of this method from this file here. As you can see, this method receive as parameter the company object to store into the database. This is the insert SQL statement to store it into the database. Here the values of the fields are passed as parameter. In fact, here we are using a prepared statement object of JDBC. Then take as parameter this SQL string. Then here we are assigning to each field the value to be stored into database, taking it from the corresponding property of the company object. This is the execution of the statement. We are expecting that the number of rows affected by this execution is only one, because we are inserting one row. If so, or however, if different from 0, now we here are getting from the database, from the engine JDBC, the ID assigned to the new row into the database, and assign this value to the ID property of company object. Finally, we are closing here the prepared statement and returning the object company with the new ID value. In case of SQL exception, with some problem into the connection to the database, this method will return an empty object of class company. Let's come back to the company WS class to create the method of our new web service. Okay. Okay, here we are calling the new method to insert the company object into database. We have now to add the JAX-RS annotations. First of all, the post annotation. In fact, this is a method that a web service that create a new object into the server, into the database of the server. So, as a RESTful compliant web service need, we have to use the post HTTP method. then the specific path of this method, say company, and produces a notation that specifies the format that this web service will use to return to the client application the company object. It's another JSON string. Okay, we can start our application and call the new web service. Run on server plus fish. Okay, let's configure a new HTTP request in Postman. So here we can create a new request. First of all, we have to set the HTTP method to post. Then we can copy the first part of the URL from the previous request. The path of the specific method was company. Okay. Okay. Then now we have to set the data that we want to send to the web service. That is the data of the object that we want to store into the database. We can copy an object in JSON format from the previous HTTP response, and here in the post request select body row and then paste the data to send to the web service. Here we can modify data for the new object, for example New York. We have not to send the ID because it's assigned from the database. Say so example USA. Okay. Now we have to tell the web service what kind of format are we using to send the object to store into the database. To do so, we have to use a header parameter here, that is content type. In this case, we are using the JSON format. Okay, so now all it's ready. We can send the request. Okay, perfect. As you see, we have received into the response of the HTTP the new object with the same data that we send for the fields city, name and state, and the new ID assigned from the database. Let's try out now to send another object, this time in XML format. So we can go back to a previous result to copy an object in XML format, and then here we come back to the body of the request and paste the object, remove the ID, for example Madrid, in Spain, fine. We can leave macro. Okay, then here we have to change the content tab in XML, and now send again the request. Okay, this is the result in the body with the object that has been inserted into database with the new ID. We can see with Data Source Explorer the database to check for the new rows. Stop here the application to avoid the conflict with the Data Source Explorer. Okay, table company. Okay, as you can see, here we have the new two new rows with New York and Madrid cities. Well, as we have seen in this with this method, we can send the object to be stored into database in JSON format or XML format. But we can also impose in the web service the format that it will accept for the data to store into database. For example, we can set with another annotation that is consumes. It's another JAX-RS annotation. We can impose that the format will be JSON. Let's try again. First of all, we have to disconnect from the database here to avoid conflict, and start again our application. Okay, let's send again here an object from Postman in XML format. We can change here Paris, and the content type is application XML. Okay, error, unsupported media type, because with the consumes we have imposed to send a JSON format. So let's try to change JSON. We can remove the ID and send it again. Okay, we have now the new object into the database. That's all. Okay, so in the next video we will see how to update an object into database using a put HTTP request. Thank you very much for your attention.